Hi guys, it's Fathom. So, today I'm just going to be, teaching you how to scream for a beginner tutorial. There's not going to be any sort of effects on this yet. Sorry, my microphone was down a little bit. There's not going to be any effects on my voice yet. I'm going to show you also how to process your vocals, but first I'm going to be teaching you how to scream. The first thing you want to do is just get a drink, wet your throat down. Especially if it's the first time, try drinking something warm, like some hot tea with honey. Don't just go for a spoonful of honey. That can actually make it a little rougher on your throat at first. But what you want to do is, I'm not exactly sure what technique I use. What I did was basically I just started making noise. And I was like, okay, what sounds good? What doesn't? What hurts my voice? What doesn't? You are going to hurt your voice. That is an inevitable part of the process of learning how to scream. But eventually you'll start to figure out ways around that. You'll start to figure out ways to get the exact tone that you want and everything. But the first thing you want to do, here's just the basic low scream that I have. Again, totally unprocessed. It'll sound a little odd without any sort of processing. But you just have, for a low, you just go, for a mid, and then for a high, things like that. I'll be telling you about tone, how to prevent hurting your voice, and also how to just, in general, produce sound, So the first thing you want to do is think of your throat as sort of like a gauge for where the distortion is. The lower you want your pitch to be, the lower the distortion will be. The higher your pitch is, all the distortion is up here. The lower it is, all the distortion feels like it's down here. It's still coming from up here, but you want to focus down here, if that makes any sense at all. So, what you want to do is just start with a basic vocal tone. Just, yeah. You want to slowly start to tighten that up just a little bit. Yeah, 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 yeah. Until you start to get that fry tone. It can also be just if you just barely put any force into your vocals, you can also get that fry tone like that. Just, yeah. Except that's very, very weak. You want to start with just a normal vocal tone. Yeah. And then make that into a fry tone. Yeah. Where it starts to crackle a little bit like that. That won't hurt your voice at all. And then after that point, you want to start to tighten it up a little bit right here. It's easiest to just start with the mid-tones. I learned lows first. Highs are the hardest for me. But then is the mid-tones. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. Had a little bit of throat singing stuff in there. Yeah. That's kind of cool. Yeah. 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 You get it. It's all about just very slowly and very, very gently tightening it. If you're doing it wrong, you'll feel it itching and scratching in here, and you'll want to cough after. Excuse me. And that's when you want to change your tone. Or, not your tone. Change your... Excuse me. Good God. That's when you want to change exactly how you're going about doing this. But overall, that is the basics of it. That's a fry scream, I believe. You can also do false chord screams, but I'm not very good with those. It's where you... Yeah. Sort of like an exasperated sigh. Imagine you've had a long day at work, you're real frustrated, you're angry, on your way home people kept cutting you off on the interstate, and you get home, just flop down on the couch with just a heavy sigh, just It's that. And then you want to try to add a little more air to that and carry it out longer. And just start to add a little more pressure to that. Again, I'm not very good at... I've never really put much effort into trying to learn false chord screams, but if that's what you're interested in doing, that is the basic tone that you're going to try to work from. I focus on fry screams mostly. But then how to change the pitch from the fry scream. Yeah. If you want to change it lower, you're going to close your mouth down a little bit. Yeah. And another way to really get a real good tone is to turn your head to the side and angle it down. That was one of the worst screams I've ever done. It's a lot harder for me to get that same power because it sort of pushes my normal vocal range. But it's hard for me to get that same power when I try to go that low, that is. Because it's well outside of my standard vocal range. You should not be using your vocal cords at all when doing this. If you are using your vocal cords when you do this, you will damage your voice. And then it's the opposite for the high screams. So you take that mid scream and you open your mouth a little more. Yeah, 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 yeah. You know, like that. And then, as for getting a sort of like tunnel throat type scream, tunnel throat, I believe, has its own sort of techniques to it, but how you can get that same sort of tone from a fry scream is to, you can change the shape of your tongue in your mouth. To get like a good like pig squeal type sound, I don't know how well you can see that. Put your tongue right in there. Just barely touch the tip of your tongue to the ridge behind your teeth. And then... like that. And then... let's see, what's next? A tunnel throat. It sounds like... something like that. A lot of people call that zombie screams or alien screams, things like that. But to do that, there's multiple different ways you can shape your tongue. Some people will physically pull their cheek to create a larger cavity that the sound can resonate in your mouth. That last one was sort of pathetic, but you get the idea that I'm going for. I'm not exactly putting as much power as I could into it. But yeah, that's basically it for the basics of how to actually scream. And if you do damage your voice and if you do lose your voice, keep drinking hot tea with honey. That is the best. Milk will also help if you don't have any hot tea. Just do some hot milk, like microwave it for a few seconds just to warm it up. It goes down smooth, coats your throat, really helps out. Take a rest for a few days on it and try again when your voice feels normal. Probably a few days after your voice feels normal just to make sure that it's healed. But then, let me show you how to process your vocals. Okay, so I have my vocals recorded, but not processed yet. The first example here is with a trap metal beat, and I'll show you how to mix that. And the second one is with a gent death metal deathcore beat. It's any sort of metal genre that'll work for, since it's already relatively distorted, you know? So that's what that sounds like pre-processed. And here's what this one sounds like pre-processed. Like that. So there has been no audio editing on these vocal tracks whatsoever. What I did here was record it 2 separate times. This one on... okay, so right here, here's a high scream. Here's a high scream.
Yeah.
That one was intentionally a little bit weaker than the other. On this one, here's a high scream. Also intentionally weaker. And on this one, here's a pretty strong low scream. That's one thing that people will do in death metal, gent, deathcore, metalcore, genres like that, core genres. They'll layer a low scream with a high scream and get the best of both worlds, and it makes a pretty disgusting mix. And then what you want to do is, for the trap metal, just skip past this part if you're just looking for the death metal. But what you want to do is put some reverb on it. Room size, let's go with 15. I'm just using Audacity. You can use whatever software you want because these effects are pretty basic. Room size 15, pre-delay 52, reverberant 61, damping 31, tone low 30, tone high 31, wet gain and dry gain both -1, and stereo width is 39. Wet only is not checked. And you want to do that to both the vocal tracks. So here's what it sounds like now.
Yeah.
Already sounding a lot better. And then just some distortion. Oh, I gotta actually select the track. There we go. Very light distortion for the trap metal.
Yeah.
Like that. Now that will likely overpower the beat. So what we're gonna want to do is take an amplify effect and turn it down about 2.5. Repeat that until the waves look about right. We can always undo that if need be, but here's how it sounds now. Yeah, like that. So that's how you process vocals for trap metal. Now we're going to move on to the deathcore. Sounds like shit. So what we're going to do, we want some reverb on it, but not as much as we had with the trap metal. But that was delay. So room size, rather than 15, let's go with like 8. And then put that on both tracks. Okay, so already a little bit better. Then click removal. Okay, I gotta remember. Click removal. Okay. You always just gotta try to make sure that there's no background noise. But anyways, volume and compressor, we're just going to compress those just a little bit. Let's just go with some distortion. Again, we're going to basically do the same thing, but a little bit lighter. So let's go with 5 rather than what we had it at before. Okay, come on. Did that even get the distortion on it? Nope. Distortion. This track effect, distortion. Okay, I'm gonna turn it from 14 to 5. There we go. And then we're going to repeat that. And then this is what we have. Let's mute this so you can just hear the vocals first. Singularity. But then with the music. Okay. Now we do need to There we go. Let's do it one more time. There you go. That is what we needed. Anyways, thank you for watching this tutorial. If there's anything that you don't fully understand, that you need some answers on, if you have any questions, if you want to see more videos like this, let me know in the comments. I hope this was helpful to you guys. And yeah. Fathom out.
When you try to play